Hey there, welcome back. Today I've got an interview with my friend Richard Patey. For the last few years, he has really been building a name for himself in the website investing, buying, and selling world. You may have seen him in the Flipping Websites Facebook group, which he started and then sold. Most recently, he's been focused on his newsletter where he's actually curating awesome looking deals for potential website investment and also other content that would be relevant and interesting to website investors. This conversation actually went for 2 hours, and what I've done here is cut it down into parts. So in this this episode, we are planning on talking about growing small sites to 6 figures, dealing with the Google changes, using the site speed accelerator with Ezoic. Is it worth it to invest in images, the future of Amazon Associates, and a heck of a lot more. So if you want to know more about Richard, go and sign up for his email list. He has a free version of his newsletter. And now, here we go. All right, so Richard, I know from talking with you previously that you have started several websites, you have bought and sold websites, you've had at least one 6-figure exit in your past. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So
100K. It's 100K. It's not 900,000, but yeah, it's 100K, yeah.
Okay. And so I get a lot of questions, especially as of late, from folks who have started, right? They've made the jump. They have gotten out there and now they have a website that is earning either through ads or affiliate offers, but it's still at the lower end. So they're maybe getting $200 a month or $300 a month or $500 a month. And they have a lot of questions now about what are the sort of tips or the best tricks or information that you would need to take a site that is worth $3,000 and build it to something that is worth $100,000. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, the way that I did it was with recurring revenue. So I was promoting software products that paid out a percentage of what they make from their customer every month. So it's recurring. So that compounds really nicely. So the 100K exit that I had was with a website that only had 10 pages. These pages were pretty big, although nothing compared to what's typical nowadays, but maybe these 10 pages were 3,000 words each. So like 30,000 word website, but each of those pages had a job and ranked well for the software plus review keyword that it was going for. And so that just compounded over time. So if you can't do it through recurring revenue, if you can't do it through increasing monetization, if you've maxed out conversion rate on your site, you can pay for third-party companies like Convertica to do that if you have the budget. But if you think you've maxed out all the conversion elements and you've also included ad revenue as well, if you get to 10K sessions a month, you can join Ezoic. Then if you think you've maxed out the monetization and the affiliate links that you're promoting are the best paying ones, then it just comes down to traffic. It just comes down to bringing in more search traffic and building a larger and larger site. But why I like to promote software is that you don't need many pages to end up with disproportionately high revenue that ends up being that 6-figure exit because it just compounds over time. The frustrating part about selling a recurring revenue business is it wasn't valued any higher than if it was just an Amazon Associate site, which I found frustrating because with Amazon Associate, if you lose your Google traffic, you lose all revenue immediately. With software, that will carry on potentially for years. So just need to bear, if you do focus on software, you need to kind of bear that in mind in terms of whether an exit makes sense for you, because this site was making around $3,000 a month, something like that on average, I guess. And in terms of churn rate, you wouldn't have needed to do much to sustain that for 1 to 2 years in the future, even if you lose all your traffic. And also what I did was that I leveraged email well with that website. The homepage was a squeeze page designed to capture people's emails that wanted funnel templates. And so that site was capturing 300 to 500 emails a month, maybe a bit more, I can't remember. And I was emailing out affiliate offers that were converting very well. So I was able to promote software called Samcart, And through the email list that I had, it was between 5,000 and 10,000 subscribers at the time. Just by emailing well, they give you the blueprints, the content, the what do they call it? Swag copy. Anyway,
the swipe.
What do they call it? Swipe. That's it. Swipe copy.
Swipes.
Yeah, they give you the swipe, but you just need to best leverage that you can, or email it out early. That was one of my hacks. So the second that the offer became online, I would email out and try and get the cookie early. But anyway, you just need to kind of do, use that the best that you can. And just by having an email list and emailing out the content that they gave me, I made it to a top 10 leaderboard of affiliates. And then that added additional revenue that then increased the asset price. So if you can't incorporate an email list into a site, so the funnel site was, even though it's 10 pages, it was more of an authority site, even though it had a very small number of pages, because it was about educating people in terms of how to leverage funnels in their business. And people were wanting to give their email for the offer that I had for the free funnel templates. So if you're able to incorporate asking for emails into your niche site, your authority site, that can be a very powerful and profitable channel. But if you can't, then it just comes down to traffic. And typically, if you've optimized your page, you've used tools like Surf for SEO, you've got the keyword density perfect, you've got the number of words that you need to have to compete, then you've got to look at more keywords and adding more content. And so, yeah, for me, software is a business, is a niche where you don't need to have hundreds of pages on your site in order to earn decent. Because that, I would kind of find that a bit of a treadmill if I was having to publish and get to, several hundred pages, or if not even higher, to end up with the required revenue to, get to six figures. So, yeah.
I thought your comment just now about a treadmill as far as affiliate income was really sort of appropriate, because you think about MRR and software products or any other service that will pay you on a given month for the customer that you have, versus trying to consistently attract someone new to your site to send them through to buy something. It really is like a treadmill. It happens over and over and over and over and over again. Once they loop around, they bought, and then they're gone and they don't come back. So you don't have a brand, you don't have an email list, you don't have anything else to continue to earn anything from these individuals. Then it is exactly like a treadmill, like literally just doing whatever you can to go around and around and around and around and around. So one of the things I took away from what you had to say just now is that a great way to build the revenue that you're earning from the site, which will ultimately increase the value of the site, of your potential multiple and all the rest, is you just need to earn more money. And one of the easier ways to do that is to focus on a product that will pay MRR versus the treadmill of one purchase through Amazon and the rest.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to make this all about, software review. There's a lot of different niches, and a lot of money to be made elsewhere. But another benefit, and I don't have a course, I don't have a software review course or anything. I got nothing to sell. It's just why it's my preference again, is that with Amazon, if you're just promoting Amazon products, then you have one affiliate account that can get closed or banned or shut down, or they can reduce the rates. If you're promoting a lot of different products, like software products, they each have their own affiliate accounts, and you'll end up with 5, 10, 20 different accounts, if not a lot more, and you're just a lot more diversified. And it makes you a better affiliate marketer as well, because each account uses different software, or maybe it's proprietary. Each will show you different stats. Each will have different campaigns and assets that you can use, and it will make you better than, I think anyway, than just focusing on sending people to Amazon. And there is a formula for how to do that now, in terms of featured product boxes and the plugins that are available, AAWP, and also Lasso, which I'm going to try on one of my sites. It looks really good software. So yeah, that's another benefit. You end up with a lot of different affiliate programs, which is more diversified. And even if it's not recurring, then that's a good thing to do. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people get really hung up in really the minutia. You say, okay, if my end goal is to make my site worth a lot and to earn a lot, they get stuck and bogged down in the little things about how to get there. For example, one of the questions is, what if I invested in better quality images? Is that, as a strategy, going to build my site? Is that a worthy investment of my money if my goal is to make my site be worth six figures? I mean, what do you think about spending money on higher quality images versus using stock photos if your end goal is to build a site to a six-figure exit?
I don't think it's required at all. It's something I've never done. No, I mean, if you're wanting to build an audience, then these things are important. People will, if you're wanting people to come back to your site and look forward to receiving new content from you, then that content needs to be a high quality and it needs to impress a lot more. But if you're just having an affiliate site where the sole purpose is to funnel someone through to Amazon, then I don't think it's something that you need to consider, especially if you're using tools that log into the Amazon API and they pull the images for you. So in terms of what I'm doing now with like a newsletter, like I'm now thinking I should probably at some point get some custom graphics created for me and improve the offering that I have, because I'm building an audience and I want to have the best product that I can have. But so if you're not building an authority site with an audience, with an email list where people are coming back, unless you've already built a site that's worth seven figures, I think this is probably not something to look at or to think about too much.
Have you ever invested in any sort of product or service to help you speed up your site?
I mean, I've always been on pretty decent hosts like WP Engine, but I've used free plugins like the free version of WP Rocket. But recently I moved a site over to Ezoic and for the first time and use their site speed accelerator and then their Cloudflare integration. And now my site is now running at 99 on desktop. So there's nothing more I need to do with that. So yeah, site speed is important, but if you're running ads through Ezoic and you're using the site speed accelerator, then that's going to likely get you to where you need to be.
Do you test it on alternative testing, so like Pingdom or GT metrics and all the rest? Because I didn't have, when I used it, and it's not that I want to bag on them at all. When I used it, I got great scores on Google Page Insights, but then over on these other platforms for site speed, I didn't see any change. And I'm wondering, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why does it work for folks like you? And it didn't work when I went and took it offline and tested it elsewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, I took screenshots of everything. So, okay. So first of all, Pingdom, actually I haven't done Pingdom since it's got the Cloudflare integration. It went from 1.5 seconds to under a second. Page speed before site speed turned on was 36 on mobile, and now it's at 84. And then desktop, it was already 85 on desktop, and now it's 99. GT metrics before was a B, 84%. After it's A, 91%. So yeah, it's I mean, like, I'm not at all technical. I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I just click the buttons and it seemed to work. Yeah.
Did you do any tests between turning on the site speed accelerator versus when you turned on the Cloudflare?
Yeah, I did. So some of those, and I can go back and update it. So yeah, the difference between, okay, Zoic, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so with page speed insights, after site speed turned on, was on desktop, it was already 98 and then it went to 99. And then after site speed turned on, it went from 80, on mobile, it went from 81 to 84. So not a huge difference, but on mobile before Ezoic, and I was already, I'm paying $20 a month for WP Engine. It was 36. Mm-hmm. And then it went to 81 and now it's at 84 on mobile. And I'm fine with that. So that was just clicking a couple of buttons. But I mean, previously, the funnel site, it was hosted on ClickFunnels, which is terrible. So it's not something that I worry about, but it's nice to have, a fast loading site. Obviously, it's better for bots and for people. But again, like if you're trying to get to $3,000 a month, or a site worth six figures, I don't think these things are worth focusing on until you do. Or there are more important things to focus on. You need more traffic, and you need better ways of monetizing it, or additional channels.
I concur. And I guess when I see questions like that, my initial thing to think about is post, more content. I mean, for me, that's primarily the way that I have gotten more traffic to come through my sites, is to focus on doing some really good, high quality keyword research, and to try to get more people to the site. Because I figure the more people who come there, the more opportunities that I will have to try to monetize that. And so I guess I'm not a good person to ask as far as images and all the bells and whistles and things, because I don't bother with any of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to add an image. So you've got the alt tag. It's always good to add a video, like find a popular video about the product on YouTube, embed that. I think that may help. It would help time on page anyway if people are watching a video. So that's all I do. I link to some authority links in the space, and some high DR sites. Add an image with an alt tag, add a video. That's as far as I go.
You have any thoughts about the future of the Amazon Associates program?
I haven't been on Amazon. I haven't been working on Amazon Associate sites for a number of years now, like intentionally. But I do have an opinion, yes.
I'm curious about it. What do you think? Because I know what I think, but...
Yeah, okay. I think, next is they're going to remove the commissions on other products. That just seems an obvious one to me. And then ultimately, I think it's, I don't want to be a downer on anyone, but I think long term it's going to close. It won't be around. Who hasn't heard of Amazon now, especially with the pandemic?
They don't need affiliates.
No. So what I think it could end up is they could just become an ad network, like other ad networks, and you add their code to your site and they run ads on your site. So that's what I think the future will be. I don't think Amazon it may not even need an affiliate program now, but I think longer term, I think there's a good chance that they will just close it.
Are they testing that, to your knowledge? Are they actually doing that already with the ads?
Apparently they do have some high-end proprietary ad network that big publishers and advertisers can use. It's not something that I've seen, or it's not something I've looked into in detail yet, but I'm aware that they do have, and I can't even remember the name, but they do have this ad platform that they've been building. And I think that could be what affiliate sites are left with. If you want to earn from Amazon, you may have to just run their ads, because going forward, I think commissions are only going to go one way. And if they keep going further, there's not much further to zero.
Yeah, it would certainly be easier to not have to go and look for specific products if you're just going to create regular content and then have them run whatever ads that they want to on your site.
But then that's a big opportunity for people, because you can then find independent merchants that have their own brands that potentially have higher quality products than the white label stuff on Amazon. And you can go on marketplaces like Refersion is affiliate software that has a marketplace, refersion.com. And you'll find hundreds, maybe even thousands of e-commerce brands already on there. And you don't need to apply to them. Maybe you do actually. But once you're on that platform, you click a button and then they accept you. But everything is already there and set up that it's just very easy to add new affiliate accounts of merchants within your one Refersion account. There are other platforms other than Reversion that exist for that. The obvious ones are Commission Junction and Share a Sale, but they're the old-fashioned ones are very clunky. With platforms like Reversion, you have much more of a direct relationship with the companies that you're promoting, and so that will they will have higher commission rates. Currently, it may not make you any more money than Amazon, even with lower Amazon rates, because you get the credit for other items that people order through Amazon. Mm-hmm. So until that ends, maybe Amazon is still best for the majority of sites. But if Amazon reduces its rates or they stop giving affiliates the benefit of people ordering other products, that's the point where, I think everyone is going to have to find new products and direct relationships with brands to promote going forward.
Yeah, what I was looking at right now while I was looking to the side while you were talking was the Unified Ad Marketplace, the Amazon Publisher Services landing page.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I came across it in another conversation, and I think this is, I mean, it's not just talk, right? I mean, it's something that's actually happening like now, and I think it looks like it is already connected up and is running with Azoic, which I guess makes it cool. If you're already on Azoic, you basically are already getting access to that, and those ads are already being run potentially on your site. But I mean, right now for folks with Amazon, yeah, it's like right now Amazon Associates, affiliates are mostly, going one-on-one coordinating with Amazon, for the specific product and all the rest. And in the future, you probably won't even be signing up for the Amazon ad marketplace. You'll just be on AdSense or Azoic or Mediavine, and then those ads will just be what they will be.
I think so.
Did you hear, or are you making plans for, or have you thought anything about the announcement that I heard recently that Google is planning to add a mechanism to the Chrome browser to block ads that consume a lot of bandwidth or are just really heavy?
I haven't heard about that recent development. There's been a lot of talk of ad blocking browsers and extensions over the years, and even Amazon affiliate site owners worrying whether they're like the change that WordPress made to like no referrer, adding like no refer extension to outbound links. People were concerned that they weren't going to get Amazon commissions. This fear has been present for a long time. So I don't know, but I can't imagine that. I mean, Chrome is obviously Google, which has AdSense, and they are the ad business. I can't imagine we're going to live in a browser world where we're not seeing ads. I mean, I have the Brave browser on my site, which is a derivative of Chrome, which blocks ads, and you get paid for viewing ads that come in a pop-up. Do you use Brave?
I don't, but John Gillen was talking about a product that he had developed that was similar to that.
Yeah.
That people would earn in Bitcoin, but it didn't get approved here in the US. Like he couldn't use it here, but he's using it elsewhere in the world. But similar model. Yeah.
So Brave has a crypto coin element to it. You get paid in their coins. I don't know. I can't remember the name for it. I'm set up, but I still use Chrome. I have Brave open, but I hardly use it. But I mean, I don't think it's something to be concerned about as publishers, but you need to be able to adapt if something like ad revenue is in some crazy new world, if that no longer applies. And I keep coming back to subscribers. I mean, people are making niche sites out of based on niche research and keyword research, often without any interest or passion in the niche. It's purely because that they can get traffic and they know that the products have decent prices to get the commission on. But I mean, that there could be a world where, as publishers, we end up by necessity needing to focus on what we actually are interested in or what we are best at. And then there's lots of ways of monetizing that. And we discussed previously, which I think you're saying is going to be a separate episode, in terms of how to monetize newsletters and podcasts, and maybe that's the way forward. I mean, if you're building like a very big authority site, then you're going to want to do these kind of things anyway. You're going to want to have your own podcast, and you will have an email list, and that will drive significant revenue. So there's always ways of monetizing traffic and attention. But yeah, in terms of whether ad revenue is going to go down due to browsers blocking it, I don't know. But if you have your own audience, then you can run ads in other ways, or you can do direct ad sales. So as long as you have an audience, anyone can swap out, an ad network and start selling their own ads as well. If they have direct relationship with brands and manufacturers in the space, and maybe you could actually generate higher RPMs by doing that, but it would involve a lot more work. But then if you're saying Chrome is going to block that as well, then I don't know.
Well, what I think, one is that your point early on was that, well, AdSense is a Google product. And so I don't think that what's going to happen is AdSense is going to have any trouble, because that would make no sense at all for Google to shoot itself, cut off its own leg where it earns money. I think that this would target other ad networks that aren't running Google products. So these ad networks that allow you to do like video ads, right? That you can pin to the mobile bar at the bottom, or that overlay or pop-ups or things that do have high resources that aren't Google products. I think this is like an antitrust situation where they're like, we're going to take over the world, and this is Chrome, and we're going to try to get people to primarily focus and run our products. Second to that, though, is you say, oh, well, people, who want to build, these authority sites, they should be doing things like starting an email list and doing a podcast and all those things. But your point, though, about how a lot of people don't really have an interest in these topics in the first place, is just a means to an end. They just want to buy content from a content provider to put up the articles and then have a generic domain name and funnel people through. They're not interested necessarily in building a brand. They don't have their name on it, or anybody's name on it, not even a pen name. It's just a bestknifecutter.com, and it's a place for people to go to be in between Amazon and the user and the money. And that's probably where it ought to go, right? It should be prioritized to have the content where people who are a legit brand, who legitimately use the product.
Yeah, and if all you're doing is funneling people through to Amazon in the shortest amount of time, then you're not adding much value to them anyway. So that's another reason why Amazon would not value that kind of approach, and may at some point reduce the rates again. And if they do reduce the rates again, then how far can they reduce them now?
Well, I mean, it's just going to go to ads. They will just be to zero, and they will just run ads. I mean, at this point, a lot of the content that is out there in the world that is being created is basically an ad.
Yeah, I mean, it's designed for people to bounce.
To go and to buy something. That's
Which
it.
is the complete opposite of what you want to do if you want to actually build a longer term business.
I mean, most people will never go back to those sites again for any purpose.
Or even remember anything about them.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I have sites, and you look at the returning visitors, and I don't think a whole lot about that. And as I'm talking to you and thinking, man, that metric is probably one of the most important metrics that talk about the health of your site and the value of your site. And I doubt many people really look at that carefully. So how many returning visitors does your site have?
It should be, shouldn't it? But in terms of the website buying and selling marketplace, I've never seen that factored in.
I think it should be.
Maybe it should be, exactly. Maybe at the very high end, that's a consideration. But the way content sites are priced is purely on revenue.
It is.
It's the price to earnings. And that to me doesn't really make much sense. And I've been looking into that recently. Like I've been looking more into the world of domaining and what website domain names are worth. And I'm finding it very surprising. Like I'm actually seeing opportunities in buying, low revenue niche sites because of the domain name. Because it's not something that I've ever considered. I actually see like a number of, niche sites and Empire Flippers or Investors Club. Maybe they're making like $1,000 a month, and they actually have like a great.com. And these domain names are not considered assets separate to the revenue that they're generating. The standard argument, is that these websites are utilizing all their assets, their email list if they have one, the domain name, everything else, and that's what is generating the revenue, and the value and the price of the website is based on the revenue only. But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because if you have a 4 or 5 letter.com, then that's potentially pretty valuable. And it would be pretty daft to not factor that in to evaluation of a website. But right now we're not doing that. So I'm enjoying looking further into the world of domaining and seeing some opportunities there. I'm actually going to be doing my first domain flip in the next week or so, just to see if I can make some money doing it. And so, yeah.
I think though, I think as buyers, as a buyer myself, and I think other people do, like you, or we do see that value in there though, and it will help me make a decision about whether or not I want to make an offer on a particular site at that multiple or not, or whether I would be willing to continue to negotiate in the event that there was competition for it, because I recognize that that value exists. I mean, maybe it's not factored into the 32x multiple, which is 32x of the revenue, but if I'm looking at how badly I want that particular package or that particular site or not, I mean, I see those metrics, and that makes the site more attractive and it absolutely makes the decision for me whether or not I'm going to throw in an offer or make an offer or participate or not.
That's interesting. I've seen that at the higher end, like sites, worth $200,000 to $300,000. Buyers are happy to pay a higher multiple because of the brand name and the name of the domain. I've run out of my SD-bot daily requests. I was trying to look up one, but I'm sure the actual value of the domain itself is not factored in.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just factored in for me personally about whether or not I've invested in this particular site or not.
But what I think is possible is that, because like website investing world is completely separate to domaining. Domaining's been around so much longer. And if you look at some of the publications, they're really old fashioned. They're really old WordPress type sites and been going for a very long time. And these worlds are still pretty separate, but they're coming together more. Like Domain Name Wire is a great publication that has a podcast. I had a recent episode talking about buying and selling websites. So these worlds are coming together, but I bet it is possible that you could find a deal on Flipper, a website deal, 10K, 20K, 30K, and that the domain, I mean, obviously it's not going to happen often, but that the domain itself is worth more than the deal that you're buying. I bet this is, in terms of the seller not realizing that, because it's something I've not personally ever thought about or factored in before, because these assets are not part of the valuation. And going forward, I think that they should be. I think that recurring revenue should be valued higher. I think that an email list is an asset that should be valued. If it's large, if it has engagement, if you're selling a site with 20,000, the funnel site had 10,000 email list. I don't know, open rates, maybe 30% or something, which is decent, maybe lower, maybe from memory, maybe it's like 25%, something like that, which is decent. Not factored in at all, but that's an asset and that email list was driving, if I had to guess, over half the revenue. Google search 50%, email is 50%, but that list was not an asset. So yeah, I'm thinking about things differently now. And I think going forward, maybe as our industry, website investing world gets more sophisticated, I think this may play a bigger part, because we all know the concept of a starter website that has no revenue, but you're buying a site because of the content.
I've done it.
Because the content has a cost to it. The content has value. The content is ranking and bringing in traffic, and that has value. But if a site has no revenue, it's not worth zero. So, we understand that non-revenue generating starter sites have value, but we're not valuing that content when it is generating revenue. So that's the really weird thing. Like, if a site's making $1 a month, or like $100 a month, is it worth $3,000 if it has 200 high quality pages? And so like you almost like don't want to have any, like it hurts you to have revenue. Like a site would be worth less if you made like $1 a month versus the content that you have. So
making $0 a month, but with 200 pages of, well, I think the human proof designs and these other groups that are selling done for you sites that have so many pages and selling them for $2,500 or $5,000 and there's no revenue, but then somebody could create that, like you said, and have only $25 a month, and then maybe get $300 for it over on Motion and Dust, and they turn it around and sell it for $1,000.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. If you can buy based on very small revenue, then it can make a lot of sense. But yeah, I think things are. It strikes me as a little bit odd that we only factor in the actual revenue a site makes and not the assets.
Well, I mean, maybe that's the way brokers are doing it, or maybe that's the way people are out there doing it, and that's not the way I do it, though. I mean,
Interesting.
as I make a decision about what I want to pursue a project, I guess I develop my own idea of what I think the value is and what it means to me, and then the value of the site is what I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah,
That's its inherent value is the fair market value of the transaction and what somebody's willing to pay for it. And if somebody says it's worth $3,000, but nobody's willing to pay $3,000 for it, it ain't worth $3,000.
Sure. And that's the other thing. I mean, obviously, the fact that these sites are being sold at pre-pandemic, multiples were getting really high. 34, 36, 38,
42.
I know, there's some in the 40s, right? So, they were being sold, but that to me is just craziness. I actually, before I jumped on the call, I had a look at the Moz updates. Moz lists all the Google updates over time, because to me it feels maybe I've been more focused on when these updates happen, because I do a lot more due diligence now with the Wednesday deal email I send to paying subscribers. I need to know when the most recent Google update is in order to see whether a site has been negatively hit. And May the 4th, I'm recording this on 23rd of May the 4th, destroyed so many sites. And this feels like it's happening more and more often now, that these updates are not only hitting sites, but just killing them. And so I went to Moz, and I was looking back over time, 2019, 2018, adding up how many core updates there were. And there don't appear to be any more than we're currently having. Maybe I'm just more aware of them, but it feels like they are having a much bigger impact. So to pay for, over 3 years, over 36x multiple for a site where every 3 to 4 months there's a big core update that cripples sites, makes no sense to me. So
what I think, though, as far as the updates and why it might feel like they're it's happening more, or just more aware of it, is I think the previous updates were aimed at things that we're not doing. The techniques and strategies that the general vicinity, those of us who are just for the most part trying to do our best without trying to take advantage of the system, those updates weren't aimed at us. They didn't impact us. But now what's changing is impacting the people who are just legitimately trying to grow something without doing anything specific.
You're right. That's it. These changes don't make any sense to me. Why sites get destroyed or not when they're doing nothing shady. It's brutal. So with the pandemic, I really think the multiples are going to significantly drop. But if this is a new, brave new world where these updates are way more vicious than they've ever been, and more random seemingly than they've ever been, I'm not sure how you can end up with 3-year multiples. And I mean, potentially, I think a fairer valuation of the risk is far lower than that. When I first sold a site, it was a small drop shipping site. I sold it through Buy Flippers. It was listed at either 24x or 26x, and I sold it at 23x. That was 2016. And back then I was that was kind of cool. Never done that before. Almost 2 years of profit. I was happy with that, and then since then, multiples have just got insane. And if you are buying a site that is content sites, obviously the vast majority traffic channel is search. That's what it is. And if the monetization is not recurring revenue, or not diversified, or if you don't have any other traffic sources like an email list, and you are 90% Google search for your traffic, I don't understand going forward how these multiples can be anywhere near as high as they got to. Because previously it seemed that sites weren't as badly hit, were more guaranteed, future traffic. But yeah, this May the 4th one, this made there's been apparently Buy Flippers has been saying there's been more sellers submitting sites in the first quarter of this year than ever before, uh, which is great. More supply is a good thing for buyers. But the number that I could actually feature in this week's deals email was incredibly small. Like the vast majority I saw, I mean, 80+% of all the sites I looked at in the last week got really badly hit by the May the 4th update, which also makes me think, where is that traffic going?
Well, I don't think that we're going to have this place anymore where you're going to find the perfect site that hasn't had some bumps because of the algorithm. I think we're going to get to a point where that's just something that exists for everyone. Because right now, like the gold standard is to look for something where the traffic looks like this or like this, right? It's either steady or it's on its way up. You don't want to see anything that goes like this. But I don't think we're going to see. I mean, any of those.
I'm fine if a site got hit very badly by a previous update like November the 8th and has leveled and is now, bottomed out or is even slightly higher, goat sloping up. I'm fine with that. I mean, it had its hit and it's at a new level, and if it's starting to go up again, then I'm happy to feature that as a potential site to acquire. But these sites, they're getting hit by an update and it's just immediately just down and still carrying on down. And so if an update happens at the start of the month and it doesn't reflect in the P&L until the start of the next month, and you buy it in that 3-week window, you can get very badly hurt.
Yeah, and people should be getting access to analytics, on day and like watching them during the buying process. I mean, you should be getting admin access to analytics, right? Or user, not admin level, but you should be able to see like the live traffic rather than relying on screenshots.
That is true. You just got to make sure that you have an organic search filter when you're looking at Google Analytics, and you're not just looking at total page views, because a number of sites that I've seen, the page views look stable, but if you then look up, do a filter with organic, or you look it up on Ahrefs, and the search traffic is tanking. But so that you can get misled a little bit there if you're only looking at total traffic, which is what most listings on the listing pages, they state page views. But we're not really interested in page views if we're buying a site for organic search traffic. We're only interested in that. So yeah, it feels more fragile than ever, which is why I'm happy to move out, to stop focusing on being a site builder and focusing on building this publication-based business where it's a large part is recurring revenue. It just feels very anti-fragile in comparison. And so if this is the new normal, but where is this traffic going to? Is it going to the bigger publications? Maybe I need to do some research into it.
Or maybe it's going directly to Amazon.
Yeah, maybe directly to Amazon in the SERPs. But I find it very odd that 80% plus of all the deals I looked at over the last week got negatively hit. So if this happens again and again, why would anyone pay more than 18 months, 2 years for a site that is only based on search traffic?
Why would they pay for anything at all? Why would they buy?
Well, I mean, like a seller wouldn't accept 12 months because they may as well, they're very likely going to get more than that back. There's a risk level where it doesn't make any sense for a seller to sell, but for a buyer, I mean, I personally wouldn't pay more than 2 years. Like never. I just wouldn't do it. I much prefer to build out on age domains and invest in content and do it that way. But that 2-year multiple, that's what it used to be. In the last 3 years, it's got crazy. And so, yeah, with these Google updates and with the pandemic, I think multiples this year are really going to drop, which is obviously bad for sellers. But yeah, good for buyers, as I think we're going to move into a buyer's market.
Well, buyers with skills, not just buyers, but buyers with skills. Buyers without skills who end up with a site that is troubled, I don't know that they will dig it out of trouble or be able to make anything of it.
Yeah.
If you like this interview, I have to tell you there is a whole bunch more. You can catch it in one of two places. One, you can click that video you see right there on the screen, or you could jump over to my podcast where I have both of these conversations uploaded and you can listen to them